I'm Benita Zahn at Journey Through the Body at Colonie Center, sponsored by St. Peter's Health Partners and News Channel 13. And we're going to take you on a journey through the brain. So we're going to use our noggin here. And the guy who's going to do that is Paul Novak. He's the director of
the Neuro Rehab Institute at Sunnyview Rehabilitation Hospital.
All part of St. Peter's Health Partners.
Correct.
Okay, now we're going into the brain from what part, Paul?
We're actually going in from the spinal column into the brain.
So we have to be real careful with our spinal column, don't we?
Correct.
So let's go in.
All right, and when we get inside the brain here, what this demonstrates is different problems that we could have with our brain. Okay? Over behind me here this is the blood vessels that control the nourishment to the brain. Obviously, our brain needs food. Okay? Sometimes what happens is we get a blockage in the blood vessel. If you feel here, there's something hard, so it blocks the blood going through. And what happens is this part of the brain isn't getting the food it needs.
So the message for everybody as you start learning about the brain to prevent that is to do what?
Is to remain healthy in a healthy diet, to keep your cholesterol down, to eat the right foods.
And what about staying active?
Staying active, that's a big thing.
And that's what we're going to do. Let's keep moving through.
As we're moving through here, what this demonstrates tumors, so an abnormal growth in the brain. Sometimes things grow in the brain that don't belong there. So when that happens, it compresses on normal brain tissue and causes some problems. It could be movement problems, speech problems, thinking problems.
Let's hope that doesn't happen to anybody who's watching this.
Correct.
Now, where part of the brain are we in now?
Okay, we're actually in the cerebral cortex part of the brain. So that's the part that really helps us to think, okay? This part here gives us a demonstration of a seizure. Our brain has normal electrical activity. If the electrical activity is affected, sometimes those impulses or that messages don't go through clearly. So sometimes with a seizure, people will have difficulty with their arousal. They may have difficulty thinking. They may have difficulty speaking. So again, this just demonstrates that part of it here.
The electrical impulses get a little confused.
Very
All right. And now
correct.
what?
This part over here gives us a demonstration of what we call a hemorrhagic stroke.
That would be a bleed.
A bleed. What that means here is a part of that feeding system where the blood flows through bursts, and you get too much blood in a part of the brain, which again compresses the brain and causes some problems with movement or speech or memory or things of that nature.
So,
and there's one more right behind us here.
What's this?
This part of it is what they're demonstrating is an aneurysm. If you think of the brain, the vessels in the brain almost like a garden hose, what happens is you get a pouching in the garden hose, for example, and what could happen, that could burst. And again, it causes those hemorrhagic type of problems as well.
You would have a really bad headache if you get this.
Very bad headache, and you have a lot of problems with movement, again, speech, and sometimes people become unresponsive if they have a very large aneurysm that ruptures.
So obviously a good diet, being active, all important to keeping our brain healthy, and a couple of warning signs that maybe there's trouble and go see the doc immediately?
A couple of warning signs would be if people have a very severe headache, if their speech becomes slurred, that may be an early warning sign that you're having a stroke, you may be having a mini stroke.
And you know, I kidded about using your noggin. Never use your head to deflect a ball or anything.
No, the other part that we're working on in this display too are concussions. Obviously, we want to make sure that people understand you can protect your brain. The skull protects our brain, but also there's equipment, helmets for bicycles, different kind of helmets with sports. We want to make sure that the kids are really protecting their brain and staying safe.
And mom and dad too.
Correct.
Right. Paul Novak, thank you. And if you'd like to take a tour through any other body parts, just get back into our website at wnyt.com.